Networking as an introvert can be very challenging. However, with the right mindset and the right strategies, it can be very rewarding and manageable. So, now this is going to be part one where I actually address the issues that introverts face when they're out and about networking and trying to gain contacts in their career. And I'm going to give you solutions to those particular problems. However, this is going to be a detailed guide to get over yourself, yeah, and actually figure out a way to work around your personality. First challenge the introverts face is social exhaustion. Yes, they have a social battery that they run on, which dies out, and after that, they feel like they need to recharge for a 2 week period, which is again a very bad thing when it comes to social events and networking events, which may or may not be in a short time span. So they feel like they haven't spent enough time with themselves and they don't feel recharged enough to actually go out and about and socially interact with other people, especially going to large groups or large environments, large noisy environments where they feel like their batteries run out and they're burnt out and they can't really interact, let alone think. So what happens is in the future they're going to avoid any situation at all. They don't want to go to social gatherings, they don't want to go to networking events, they don't want to hang out with a bunch of people that they don't know, they don't want to get to know strangers, they don't want to do any of these things. Thus, they socially isolate, and thus their network really doesn't grow. So, if you're an introvert and you related to any of the thing that I just mentioned here, what you're going to do is you're going to leverage one-on-one interactions. Now, let me tell you what that means. Now, what that really means is what you're going to do is once you're in a social situation with a bunch of people and you really feel like one of them is actually fun and you would like to get to know them on a deeper level, or they resonate with your goal, or they resonate with your business, they can actually help you out in certain areas of your life, you're going to ask them to see you outside of meeting or that conference that you're in, or you're going to meet them online, which is again simple. It's not that complicated. You probably found them on LinkedIn, you probably found them on Facebook, you probably found them, networking online when you're just scrolling through the pages and you're like, you know what, oh, this person's profile actually seems good. It feels like he's a good fit for the kind of area that I'm diving into, kind of business that I'm trying to start, or any area of your life that you really wanted to look and change. But what you're going to do is you're going to leverage that situation. You're going to ask them out on a cup of coffee, or you're going to actually just text them, have a one-on-one conversation with them, because that's not going to drain you of your energy. Because again, introverts are very comfortable in smaller groups or just one person. That's it. Like they're just comfortable with one person or like smaller groups, and that actually allows them to come out of their little cocoon and talk to people, network, go and put themselves out there. So instead of you trying to self sabotage, what you're going to do is you're going to do this. You're going to have deeper, meaningful conversations with this one person or this small group of people that you really genuinely like and you genuinely enjoy their company, without exhausting yourself, without draining your social battery. Because again, that much piece of information is going to be a lot more valuable as compared to what you must have learned going to a conference altogether. And if not, if you know you're not a conference type of person, if you're not a big social group or social gathering kind of a person, you know exactly where your limitations are. So you're going to leverage that. You're going to meet these people alone, in a quiet place, in a coffee shop. You're going to meet them somewhere out in public, and you're going to talk to them. You're going to interact with them. You're going to get to know them, and they're going to get to know you. So that's going to put you back on the market. Second challenge that introverts face is they can't initiate conversations because they're too shy. Yeah, I'm talking to you guys. You guys are too shy for your life. You need to get out of that. Well, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I've got a solution for you. So usually what happens is introverts don't really make the first move. So even when they're out and about trying to network, trying to grow their connections, trying to actually, get investors for their business or trying to find like-minded people, they end up self-sabotaging again in a way where they're like, oh, I can't initiate conversations. First of all, probably they don't know what to talk about. Second of all, if they know what to talk about, they know the right questions, they're too shy to ask them. And you know what that does is it's going to lead to missed opportunities and you missing out on a big chunk of your career and a big chunk of your network just because you were too afraid to speak up, or if you were too afraid to ask questions, if you're too afraid to look foolish. Again, that's a problem. That's a different point. I'll discuss that later. However, if that's the problem that you're facing, where you really can't interact with people, even if you're in a big social group or a gathering or a conference, where you need to network, where you need to talk to other people, where you need to ask them for basic information, even if that's regarding what their business about, or what their business stands for, or what morals and values and ethics do their business brings into this world, or just general information like their email or their contact number, just to stay in touch, so that if there was a future opportunity where you could collaborate together, all of this is going to be missed out on just because of the fact that you're shy, you're too quiet, and you really don't know what to say. Or even if you do know what to say, you're not saying it because you're afraid of that. So what you're going to do here instead, you're going to prepare in advance. Yes, and what that means is, of course, you're going to prepare the questions in advance. You're going to research a little bit about the conference, the kind of people that are attending the conference, what their background is about. So if it's like a medical conference, you know what their background is about. They're from STEM. They're either going to be from doctors, they're either surgeons, they're dentists, or they're research R&D people. For example, if they belong to that kind of category, that's what they're going to look like. So I kind of have a brief idea as to who they're going to be. So what you're going to do is you're going to research the kind of conference, the kind of group, or the kind of area that you're going to, the people that are going to be there. So you generally have a rough idea of what kind of questions you come up with, so you can ask them and you can get some information, get to know each other, interact with people, just hold a conversation with those people. And what you're going to do on a personal level is you're going to hype yourself up before you leave the house. You're going to hype yourself up. You're going to be like, I am in this zone. I'm a different person now. I am a very chatty person. I'm an extroverted person, even if it's just for half an hour. Even if it's just for half an hour, and that's how much a social battery you have. It's fine. You're going to utilize it to the maximum. You're going to go hop, bounce, skip, and jump. You're going to spend 5 minutes each, not more than that, 5 minutes each, with each and every individual you meet at that networking event. And you're going to talk to them you're just going to come up with random questions. Just ask them random things about their company, what it is that they do, what it is they're looking to grow into, what their business stands for. Can you buy something from them? Can they invest into you? It can be literally basic questions. Or if you really like that person and you're like, I really want to see you later on, ask them for their number, connect with them on LinkedIn, and get to know them and be like, I want to see you outside of this conference. I want to see you outside of the settings. So please, let's do that. There you go. You've built a lot more connections, again, just by hyping yourself up, being prepared for what is coming, because that is very necessary. The problem here is introverts faces, they're kind of jumpy. They know they're going there, but they're still jumpy because they're like, what, people are going to come up to me, they're going to talk to me, I'm too shy to say anything. No, if you know you're going to a conference, you need to be ready with all of these things. You need to be ready with your set of questions, and you need to be ready with set of answers that people are going to probably ask you. So you need to have this kind of conversation already going on mentally, where you're like, what, I'm prepared. I'm prepared. It's like an exam. It's like a mock exam situation, okay? I have certain questions that I ask, and there are certain questions that people ask me, which I need to know about my own business, or I need to know about my brand, or I need to know about myself overall, so I can have a meaningful conversation with people. You know what I mean? Just get the ball rolling. It doesn't have to be that deep, and it doesn't have to be that light. It can just be moderate. It just has to be balanced. That's all you need to do. You need to balance it out in your head. It's not that scary. It's not that bad. People are not going to eat you. They're not monsters. They're there to network, and that's what you're there to do. So what you're going to do is you're going to do exactly that. Just focus on that. The third thing is introverts prefer depth in any interaction that they have with other human beings. However, when it comes to networking events, when it comes to social gatherings, when it comes to social events, when it comes to functions, there's a lot of small talk involved, and you need to be prepared for it, because what's going to happen is, if you're looking for depth in a 5 minute conversation, it's not going to happen. You can't find depth in a 5 minute conversation, and that's how much time you're technically supposed to spend with people when you're networking, when you're out and about, when you're trying to get to know people, when you're trying to grow your network and build your network, just so that you're covered and you've got investors, you've got the funds, or you've got the knowledge that you really need to actually run the business, or do your research, whatever it is that you really do. You've got all of that, and you've got that handy knowledge with you, so it's going to help you in the long run, and that's what you're there for, and that's what you do. However, if you keep looking for deep and meaningful conversations with everyone, no, what's going to happen is you're going to end up feeling so discontent. Okay, this fulfillment that you're chasing, it's never going to happen. You're never going to be fulfilled, because you're looking for that sense of an emotional connection, or that sense of an intellectual depth, or emotional depth, which is not the point of going to networking events. That is absolutely not the point. You're missing the point here. And what's going to happen is, again, you're going to miss meeting people. You're going to miss out on opportunities. You're going to miss out on actually building your connection, growing your knowledge, gathering information, what you're really there to do. You're going to miss out on all of that just because you're looking for depth. Like, no, there's a time and place for everything. People like get together. It's not, you're not looking for depth. You're looking for networks. You're trying to grow your connections. You're trying to make a name for yourself. You're making sure that people know who you are, what it is that you do. For example, I'm a scientist. So I need to know that, hey, you know what? I'm a scientist. I run this XYZ business. I'm looking to invest. So you need to get very clear on what it is that you really want to do. And you know what? Even if you don't find your target audience, the kind of audience that you're looking for, in the beginning, hey, at least you interact with a bunch of people. You got to know a lot of amazing people, because people who do attend these conferences are usually on your level when it comes to intellectual or monetary or whatever that is, because everybody's educated. Everybody is very highly educated, to be honest. Everyone is very rich. And these people are in those areas, that is those conferences, those large groups, those seminars. It's because they're trying to do the same thing as you. They're very like-minded people, and you need to get on board with that. Get on board with them, get to know them, interact with them, have a little small talk with them initially. Just break the ice, just get to know each other, just warm up to each other. It doesn't really have to be emotional. It doesn't really have to be all of that. There's a time and place for everything. So once you can separate and actually distinguish what it is that you're really doing, you'll get that peace and that contentment that you're looking for. So what you're going to do here is you're going to set realistic goals, be very, very, very real with yourself, and have realistic standards in your head as to what it is that you're going to do. And you're going to prepare for this before you go for that event, before you go for that seminar, before you go to any of that conference that you're going to. What you're going to do is you're going to focus on interactions instead of depth. You're not looking for depth, you're looking for social interaction. Make sure that you're at least interacting with 5 to 10 people. Now it depends on how long you're there for, what time span you really want to spend there, what it is that you really want to do. You're going to get to know people, at least 5 people, and you're going to speak to them for 5 minutes each, not more than that, no less than that, because that's going to give you time to actually understand who they are, what kind of background they're into, what industry they're in, what interests do they have, what it is they are looking to do, really align with you or not. If there is something in common, if they're in alignment with something that you really want to do, if they are the kind of people you can actually take out on a coffee later on, get to know them a little better, and actually speak about your businesses with each other and grow your network. That's what you're going to focus on. You're going to focus on the rationality of all of this, and you're not going to look for depth. Please, people, know that's not the right time. You're going to focus on social interactions, quality interactions, and you're going to grow your network. The fourth challenge that introverts face is they don't really promote themselves. So when it comes to business, when it comes to working, when it comes to networking, and when you're actually in these events, when you're in a networking event, when you're in a social gathering, when you're in a conference, you really need to promote yourself. You need to promote yourself, you need to promote your brand, you need to promote your business. And that means you're going to have to highlight your achievements, you're going to have to highlight your skills, you're going to talk a lot more about yourself, probably not that much in depth, but you're going to give them a brief idea about what it is that you do, and you're going to put yourself out there so that people know that you're valuable. People know that they can invest in you. People know and understand what your brand strategy is, what it is that you stand for, what your business does, so they can actually gain something from you. There is very intricate information within you that you're willing to provide, probably at a cost or whatever it is that you really want to do. However, if you don't do all of this, what's going to happen is they're going to undervalue you, really, because they don't understand what kind of value you bring to the proposition. So they probably don't get it clearly, and they're just going to reject you altogether. They're going to undervalue you, they're going to underestimate you. They're just going to be like, you know what, probably this person is just here for funds. He's just here to get an idea of this place, but this person or this business doesn't really bring anything valuable into that something that we're trying to build. So you're not going to downplay your achievements, you're not going to downplay your skills, you're going to highlight them, you're going to speak of them and be proud that you have them. So what you're going to do here is, introverts do have a problem where when faced with a one-on-one situation or face-to-face interactions, they shy away from talking about their own achievements and skills. So what you're going to do is you're going to use the power of social media. Yes, you're going to use LinkedIn, where you can actually talk about your business, where of course there are, you don't really have to do anything. You have to build your profile and make sure you keep updating the profile so people are aware of what it is that you do, who it is that you are, what your background is, what kind of industry you belong to, what sector you're in, and what your future goals and plans are. what your skill set is, what your, it kind of gives an idea of what your mindset is. If you're an entrepreneur, they know what kind of an entrepreneur you are, what it is that you, if you're an investor, they know you're an investor, so they can come to you if they want some funds, anything of that sort. But you need to be available and you need to put yourself out there, because that's how people are going to know that you exist. That's how people are going to understand the fact that, oh, this is the right person for the job or not. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. You're not going to downplay your achievements. You're not going to downplay your skills. You're actually going to focus on them, emphasize on them. Make yourself a nice portfolio, make yourself a nice profile on LinkedIn, publish your details on there, let them know about all of your achievements and skills, highlight your achievements and skills, keep updating it, keep polishing it, have a resume ready. So even when you're faced with social interactions, and even if you don't really, speak much, or you don't really put yourself that much out there, even if people do know a little bit about you, where whether they have your LinkedIn, whether they have your name, for example, they can look you up and they know what it is that you really do. So if they have a goal that aligns with you, if they have a proposition that aligns with you, if they have a business that aligns with you, if they have, they need your value addition into something, they're going to approach you. And there you go. You've actually built a very solid network for yourself, which is great. Introverts majorly face this problem of overwhelm, now be it in social situations, in gatherings and conferences and seminars where there are a large group of people. They just feel a little overwhelmed with the amount of conversation, with the amount of jibber jabber, with the amount of just chat that's going on all around them. And that noise is very triggering, because that makes them feel very unsafe somewhere, where they're just like, you know what, I'm not at home, I'm not in my space, I'm not in a quiet place where I can think. So they kind of shut off, and more than likely, they're never going to attend that particular event or situation ever again. So, what you're going to do here is, once you know and once you understand that, you know what, I'm not very comfortable with such big conferences, which is big rooms with such big people. I feel kind of intimidated. I feel kind of scared. I can't speak up. I can't promote myself. I can't put myself out there. What you're going to do is, yes, you, my friend, what you're going to do is, you're going to look for smaller groups. You're going to look for smaller programs. You're going to look for smaller seminars, or you're going to create one for yourself that actually suits you, and make it your own so that it benefits you the best, because that's what you're looking for, right? You're looking to benefit yourself, you're looking to grow your network, you're looking to market yourself. So that's what you're going to do. So you're going to look for Facebook groups, you're going to look for LinkedIn groups where there's a bunch of people, where handy like 5 to 10 people maximum, and you can go and interact with them. And if you like someone, you know what, you can take them outside and actually you can have a one-on-one conversation with them and go in more depth with that one person. Or you can create your own group with a bunch of people that you really like, which is very highly preferred, and which is something I personally do. Is you're going to reach out to individual people, reach out to people with similar interests, or similar interests that align with your business, similar interests that align with your career, or the area that you're in, industry that you're in, or if you're trying to get into a different sector, any of that. You're going to select a bunch for your people, which is 4 to 5 people. It can be 10. It completely depends what kind of small group you're into. So it can be 10, doesn't matter. I'm just saying 5 for reference purposes. So you're going to individually reach out to these people. Make sure that the time of the day that you select for that particular hangout or that Zoom meeting that you really want to have with those people, so you can actually get to know them, interact with them, add some value to them, and they can add some value into you. And you can put yourself out there. Your networking is done, and you're feeling accomplished, you're feeling fulfilled, you're feeling content, because you feel like, you've put yourself out there, you've done a good job. That's what you're going to do. You're going to actually reach out to people, make your own group, and make sure that your networking needs are met, your marketing needs are met, and you're out there and people know who you are. So when it comes to actually giving you a proposition or giving you a job offer or giving you something like that, they know who to reach out to, and they will reach out to you because they know your skills, they know your achievements, they know what you've done, what industry you're in, what area that you specialize in, all of that. So they have all the details, and you know what, you're ready and you're good to go. Now, introverts often deal with anxiety and self-doubt. So if you're an anxious person and you doubt yourself a little bit too much, that's going to show up in your social interactions with people. So now if you're on a seminar, you're on a conference, and you're interacting with people, maybe you did ask them the first question and they did ask you a follow-up question, and now you have no idea what to say because now you're overthinking the conversation, you're too anxious, okay, you're sweating, and you're doubting yourself whether you're like, am I sounding too smart, or is this not smart enough, or am I asking the right questions, is this even the right way to ask these questions, like, You're just overthinking the whole thing, because I don't overthink. I don't know what the kind of questions you guys might be thinking, but that's something that might be going on in your head. So that's what you don't need. You don't need that jibber jabber at all. So instead, what you're going to do is you're going to practice active listening. Now, what that does is it doesn't require you to speak, but it does require you to ask follow up questions. But that means the other person can lead the conversation. So, if the other person's leading the conversation and they're telling you about their business, they're telling you about their flourishing life, they're telling you about what it is that they've accomplished, got an award, received an award for something that, probably they discovered in medical history, whatever it is that they've done. And you know what? They're flaunting themselves, they're talking about themselves, you're getting to know them. And you know what happened here is they actually like you now, because now they're like, I can actually hold a conversation with this person because this person can listen. This person is very good at listening and asks me good questions. Now, for example, that person says, you know what, I received an award yesterday. So your follow up question is going to be, oh, that's so nice. What did you receive that award for? That's going to be your question. So once they answer that question, you're going to listen to them a little bit more. They're going to go into detail as to what they did and what research and what discovery that led to them receiving that award in the first place. You're going to congratulate them. Done. Your 5 minutes are done. I literally gave you a 5 minute demonstration of what you need to do in networking events. So don't freak out. It's fine. It's completely normal. This happens. So if you're anxious and if you're in that zone of self doubt and self pity where you're like, I don't know what to say, I don't know how to act, I don't know how to behave, don't do that. Absolutely. Don't do that. Just be like, you know what? I'm not much of a talker. I'm a listener. I like to listen to people, and I can provide you a good listening ear. I can provide you with the support that you need, and I will actually understand what you're trying to say. Most people really want to be understood instead of just being brushed off as like, oh, I heard that. Okay, whatever. So there you go. You're using that to your advantage. So just listen to them. Next thing most introverts suffer from is the fear of rejection. Well, I don't really want to categorize introverts into this because I think extroverts do suffer from that too. Fear of rejection is something that people suffer from generally. However, if you are very high on the radar of the fear of rejection, that it is even keeping you from going to that conference or going to that seminar or going to that networking event in the first place, where you actually fall into the pit of self doubt, self pity, anxiety, and the fear of rejection altogether. Now you're crumbled. No, you need to get over yourself. It's not that hard. There is no rejection. As long as you don't perceive it to be rejection, it's no rejection. Like, you just don't have to accept that as rejection. You just don't have to perceive that particular situation as rejection. What you're going to do here is you're going to find a networking buddy. Yes, you're going to find an extrovert. It's a typical example of an extrovert adopted an introvert, and now the introvert and extrovert are friends. And because of that, the introvert is now more open, and the introvert's personality can really shine and come out because of that one extroverted person. The same thing you're going to do is you're going to take your friend, you're going to take your extroverted friend who may or may not be in that same profession at all. Okay, you're going to take that one person, you're going to go to the networking event, and you're going to show up, you're going to present yourself, and you're going to speak via that person. Now what happens here is you don't really have to do much. You can just nod and be just like ha ha ha, whatever, and the extroverted person is actually doing the jibber jabber for you. So if you give them the right set of questions, what they need to ask, and just interact with people, get to know people, there you go. Your networking situation has been dealt with. Your need for networking has been dealt with. You've put yourself out on the market. People know who you are. People know who your friend is. So, which is great again, altogether. And you know what? It's a great excuse. It's a great excuse to have fun with your friend. So there you go. That's what you're going to do. 2 points are very necessary, and these are not really challenges, but this is just necessary for introverts or extroverts to be networking altogether. So the thing is, once you've done interacting with people, and once you've done getting to know people, once you've done at the networking event, you're going to follow up. You're not going to forget about this. Now, again, if you really find someone interesting, you will follow up naturally. But even if you don't, but you know that one person can actually help you out in your business, or they can help you out progress in your career, you're going to follow up. You're going to keep in touch. You're going to ask them questions. You're going to research a little bit about them. You're going to, just get their guidance on what it is that you deem is necessary, and you're going to keep in touch, and you're going to keep following up, you know with everything that they're doing. So be yourself, because being yourself is very important. Because again, when it comes to networking, when it comes to someone putting the time and money into you, or actually giving you an opportunity to work with them, or giving you any kind of help, They really need to know, and they will see through you. They will see through you because you can't really fool people when you're trying to pretend to be somebody else and you're not that particular person. But it just gives a sense of mistrust where you come off as very ingenuine and inauthentic. Like you're just not authentic, and it's not funny. You know what I mean? Like people wouldn't want to talk to you, people wouldn't want to stay in touch with you, people wouldn't want to interact with you, people wouldn't want to give you opportunities where trust is a big factor. So when you do show up as authentically, truly yourself, people know what they're signing up for. And you know what? When people interact with you, they are actually glad that, you know what, you're not that self conscious. You're bold, you're brave, you're fearless, and you know what? You can show up as yourself, which is the best thing because any person to grow in their career, you need to show up as yourself. You need to show up as who you are because being somebody and copying somebody and trying to think like somebody and trying to get inspiration is a different story, but actually just literally physically copying somebody else is going to take you so far because that person's already going to be 10 steps ahead of you because that's an original person who thinks originally and that's who they are. You're trying to copy that person. It's not going to work. It's a very complicated situation. So don't do that. Don't put yourself in that place. And you know what? Just show up as yourself. People are going to like you. People are going to appreciate you for who you are. You're going to find your crowd. You're going to find the kind of people that you're looking to find, and you're going to get your needs met. You're going to get your career sorted. You're going to find your networking people. You're going to find your network. Network is net worth again. So be very careful of who you have in your network and who it is that you really want to interact with and all of that. However, if you do follow these steps, you're going to get out of your cocoon and wait for part two, which is going to come out again in the next video this week. So where I'll disclose more in detail as to how it is that you really can network and what kind of apps you can use, what kind of tools you can use, what kind of strategies you can use. So I'm going to focus more on that in my next video. However, if you did like this one, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Okay, till then, I'm going to see you in my next one. Take care and bye. Money on top of me, money on top of her. Money on top of me, money on top of her. Daddy fuck on me 'cause you know